Welcome back to Callahan's Corners, where you ask the questions. We answer them live right here on Facebook. Well, got a really good question was asked in a Facebook group about owner or business owner burnout. So I'm going to open up my phone here and actually read the question. So it was in a contractors group. So this is applicable to any service business, but the question itself kind of hit it home because I've been here several times. So how do you deal with burnout? I'm finding it harder and harder to get out of bed each morning and get to work. Coming off the winter season, I'm always excited and ready to work, but by July, that's all gone. I've still got another 3 months of mowing to do. So it was interesting. Anthony here made a comment. And I don't disagree with Anthony's comment, but I'm going to kind of give you the 4, maybe 5 things that I recommend to avoid owner burnout and how to actually go in and get over this hump. So after scaling 2 7-figure businesses, trust me, I've been here more than a few times. So there's certain things that I've learned on my own, as well as having mentors and going and doing some research. I'm going to break this down for you. But Anthony's response, I guess I don't totally disagree with this. He says, it's because you're stagnant in your comfort zone. Do something crazy like expand your company to a point where you can work on the business instead of work in it. Well, I think before you go to expand that business, when you're burned out, that's not going to be the ultimate answer because I've done that. We've gone out and grown by 50 or 100% year after year in SimpleGrowth. And just doing that isn't going to stop the burnout. Actually, sometimes that will accelerate the burnout, especially if you don't have the right key people on your team or processes or systems. So the first thing I'm looking at here is building a team. We need to build a team to delegate. So I don't know if John's question here, if he is an owner operator, if he has a large team, a small team, but I guess it really doesn't matter where you're at. If you're a solo entrepreneur or a company that owns multi-millions, burnout for the owner is a real thing. So the first thing I'm going to think about is building a team. Now, if you're a solo entrepreneur in the field doing everything, you may think about, well, Mike, how would I build a team? Well, if you're not building an internal team that you are utilizing in the field or in the office, I'm going to recommend building a team of virtual assistants. So going in and getting a bunch of people to take some of the things off your plate that you just are going to cause burnout or you'll never get to if you're burned out. So that would be handling a virtual assistant like a pink collars, or hiring a CPA and a financial accountant to make sure that these certain things are being taken care of, the office, the billing, the scheduling. So on a high level, that's what we're talking about, building a team that can support you. But really, that's not going to help the burnout. So what I'm going to recommend is 4 simple things that you can do immediately to alleviate owners' burnout. The first one is going in and literally blocking out your schedule. So if you are not using G Suite for Business, I recommend getting G Suite for Business. It's going to be able to get you a web-based domain email. So mike@simplegrowthsystems.com. But it's going to give you better email deliverability. But what also G Suite for Business is going to do is get you access to a G Suite calendar. So whether you have one person on your team just being you or 100 people on your team, you can have access to these calendars of your team members. But where I'm going to recommend just for today's talk is blocking out certain things in your day throughout the week that are for you. So you may block out time to get your estimates done. You may be blocking out time for equipment maintenance. You may be blocking out time to go over your financials, whatever those things are. But within those blocks, we need to block out time for you to either work out or relax or reset. And we also need to block in some time for you just literally to do nothing but focus on the strategy and the vision of the business, because that time, whether you're reading or out for a walk or whatever that is, that can be just as important, if not more important, than actually going out in the field or managing the guys and girls in the field doing the work. So we need to go out and block your schedule. So tip number 1 is block your schedule in G Suite for business blocks, or if you're using another calendar program, we need to block out the time you're working in the business, on the business, and most importantly, the time that you're resetting from the business. And you got to guard those blocks with your life. Or if your admin is there, those blocks are not to be touched unless absolutely needed, and it has to have prior approval. But in my schedule, I've got times on Tuesday, Thursday where I block out strategically so I am not getting burned out. Next step, number 2, is no matter the size of the business, we need to figure out how to go in and spend a little time up front, how to organize the business and then automate the business. And eventually we can use that system to go out and dominate your market. But the main thing is we want to go in and organize all the systems and processes. The three main areas we want to look at right off the bat are our sales and marketing systems. So basically sales systems we want to automate and organize. Our employee systems, so employee recruiting, training, and onboarding. And then the third is something I call repetitive tasks, all the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually things. So burnout will happen when you start having these repetitive tasks and you as the business owner have to go out and tell everybody what to do. So it's time to handle the accounts receivable. It's a time to go out and sharpen the lawnmower blades. It's time to do equipment maintenance. It's time to do the estimates. And if you as the business owner have to tell everybody what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and if it's not getting done, you have to follow back up. That is going to be a key source of burnout and frustration. So what we want to do is block our schedule. And step number 2 is organize and then automate our sales, employee, and repetitive task systems. So all the mundane and repetitive things that are burning you out right now will come to an end or get significantly better. Next thing, tip number 3 is we want to go in and within blocking that schedule, if you don't have someone to do this for you, but a virtual assistant would be a great option, or your internal office staff, is we want to track our KPIs, our key performance indicators. And that tip number 3, you might say, well, Mike, that's adding more work to my plate. Why would I want to do that? I'm worried about burnout. Well, a lot of times burnout and frustration is having the lack of clarity in your business and knowing what's going on. So is it cash flow? Is it the amount of jobs? Is it cancellation? Not knowing what's going on can lead to frustration and burnout. So we want a clear picture of our key performance indicators. So the main things that I'm going to be looking at are going in is how many clients do we have? How many clients have canceled? And what are our net new clients? So we're looking at client acquisition and retention and satisfaction all in one KPI. Second one is going to be financial KPIs. So accounts receivable and accounts payable. We need to go in and build a budget, and we need to track at least on a weekly basis how much people owe us. How much is current? How much is past due, from 1 to 30 days, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and 90 plus. So we've got our sales KPIs. We've got our financial money KPIs. So if people start owing us money and things start spinning out of control, that's going to cause burnout and stress. So you want to have an idea on that as well. And then your third KPI, I'm going to leave that open for you. Now, there's a lot of things you can do, but I recommend only 3 main drivers that we're focusing on. So depending on what point of your business, what's going to drive you strategically to the next step where you want to go. But sales, customer retention is probably going to definitely be one, and financials is a second. The third, you're going to figure out what that is. And I've got some ideas around that, but I'm going to leave that one open up to you. What is the main thing that's stressing you out and you want clarity on to avoid that burnout? Now, we blocked the schedule, we've organized and automated it, and we've tracked the KPIs that are going to give you clarity. So the next thing logically is we need to take a freaking vacation. Sounds crazy? How do we take a vacation in the middle of the season? Well, I will tell you, whether it's a long weekend, I'm recommending a whole week if you can do it. If you're not in the field still doing the work, we need to go out and block out a vacation. And I will tell you that some of the biggest wins in my business have come when I've actually disconnected from the business for 5 and 7 days or 10 days. Because once you reset as a business owner, even if you're sitting by the pool having a cocktail, the mind starts working. But what you can do, and you start thinking about the strategic things, the strategy and the vision. And that's what a business owner is supposed to do. You set the vision and you set the strategy and you hire a team to implement it, whether it's subcontractors, internal employees, virtual assistants. But your job as a business owner is to set the vision and the strategy to that vision. But if we're in the grind day to day, burned out, it's not going to happen. So yes, I suggest you take at least probably a full week vacation if we can, and block it out. And right here, I'm telling you right now, this phone will be the detriment of that vacation. So when I used to go on vacation in the early days, before I became disciplined and built a team that could fully run the business, is I literally took my phone, if we were going to a hotel, and locked it in the safe. And literally, and once I put it in there, I actually had my wife put the code in there, so I wasn't tempted to do it with the keypad. And I could not get into that safe unless it was an emergency. And if there was an emergency, my crew leader and the guy running the company had my wife's cell phone, and he would call her directly. but that forced me to disconnect. So the biggest thing is if you can afford to do it for that blocked out time, whether it's an hour, hour and a half, do it throughout the week, disconnect from the phone and use that strategy or that break to really disconnect and focus on the strategy or vision, or have a mental reset. But without doing such, you will burn out and you continue to burn out. So the main ideas here is the top 4 things. We need to block our schedule to protect ourselves, and block our schedule for the things that have to get done so we know when they're going to get done and it's not stressful. We're going to organize and automate. We're going to look at our KPIs. That's going to be our customer numbers, our sales, retention, and cancellations. Second KPI is going to be our financials. Third one is going to be whatever you decide to go strategically to grow to that business to the next level. So that clarity, and being able to see everything on a daily and weekly basis is going to make you less stressed. We're going to hopefully start eating healthy and working out. I'm preaching to the choir here as I'm trying to get back in the gym a little bit. And the fourth is take a vacation. 3 days if you can, at a minimum. I'm recommending 7 to 10 days. Take your cell phone, put it in the hotel safe, and do not answer that phone unless it's emergency. And if you have a friend or a spouse with you or girlfriend, have that phone number, their phone given to whoever's in charge, and they call only if it's an emergency. That way you are not tempted to start checking your email, and you're not returning phone calls, and you're not getting back into there. Because what you'll find a lot of times is when you get back is you're actually the bottleneck of growth. You're actually you're hindering the growth of your business, and you trying to micromanage everything is really causing all the stress and burnout. So I will tell you, after scaling 2 7-figure businesses, these are just a few of the takeaways. But if the business owner is not going to take care of themselves and take time to themselves and focus on the strategy and vision and focus on blocking the schedule, going out and automating the business, so what should happen always happens without them, the KPIs, key performance indicators, and taking a vacation, you will be stuck in a perpetual state of in and out of burnout. And the final closing thought here is, if you are burned out or you feel burnout coming in, reset now. Because the biggest issue, and especially in the seasonal service business, is that your fixed and general administrative overhead, your expenses, are all being recovered from March or February, depending where you're at in the country, up through the end of November, December. Well, what you're going to see is the end of September, beginning of October, you've recovered 99% of those fixed costs. So your cost of doing business, your overhead, is already recovered. So anything you can push and drive extra profitable sales at the end of the year in Q4 are bottom line profits. And just like this gentleman's question, he's burned out. So by the time you get to the fall, you take your foot off the gas pedal and you've literally lost out on the majority of the profits you're going to make, or the profits you could make. So I want to see you go out and write some comments on this, whether it's live or recorded. Get a hold of G Suite calendars, block your schedule. I want you to organize and automate it. I want you to check your KPIs for clarity so there's less stress. And I want you to take a vacation. And if you're watching this recorded, if you haven't taken a vacation, commit to yourself. Write down, hey, Mike, I'm doing a 4-week vacation, or I'm doing a week vacation, or I'm doing a long weekend. And let's hear about it. I want to see publicly commit to taking some time off to reset and put the phone in the hotel safe or wherever you're going, and let your team have a contact that's with you if it's an emergency. We'll see you again at Callahan's Corner. Great question. We'll see you again tomorrow. Callahan's Corner, you ask questions, we answer them live. We're right here on Facebook.